Hi, it's Harshad here. We are looking at the last letter in the trajectory that we had chosen. If you remember the trajectory I'm talking about, we started by writing the documents that would help you get a job. We started by writing an application letter, a resume, and finally, as we come to the end of the trajectory, we are learning here how to write a resignation letter. What you need to understand at this point is if you are watching this video before reading the previous document, then take a pause, go to the Edmodo and find a document titled as resignation letter. That write up, which is available as a PDF, it is single page, that should be the first document you read. After reading that document and understanding everything about resignation letter, the second step should be to watch this video. The third step after this should be to go to Edmodo again and see a template for writing a resignation letter that is uploaded there. The template will help you to write a letter on your own. So please follow these three steps in the same sequence. First, go to Edmodo and read the document titled Resignation Letter. Second, watch this video. And third, write a letter on your own. So I'm assuming now that you have completed the first step and you understand everything about resignation letter. And with this, let us start. So we have a very simple question here in front of us. You are working as a junior marketing executive with Lux Industries. After working there for 2 years, now you want to quit your job for a personal reason and write a resignation keeping this in mind. Now the question also tells you to use a modified block format. If you remember, modified block format is the one that looks exactly like the full block format with the exception that the first part, which is the sender's address and the date, is shifted to right, and the last part, which is the signature block, that is shifted to right. Otherwise, it looks very similar to the full block format. The sentences still begin at the margin, there is no indent whatsoever. So this is a very simple topic given for resignation letter. Let us have a look at this. Now, because a resignation letter is given within the organization, it is never couriered and always hand delivered. We will not write the sender's address here. We can begin directly with the date. So on the right, you can see the date here, 30th April 2019. The letter of resignation is given to the highest boss who handles your unit. Of course, it depends on which organization it is and how big an organization it is. In a very big multinational organization, you will hand over your letter even to your project head, even to your supervisor. In a medium level organization, you can give your resignation to the top boss of your division. In a very small organization, however, you can hand over resignation to the highest guy in the company. He can be the CEO, he can be the MD, something like that. Here, let us consider this to be a mid-level organization. So this guy, who is an assistant manager, who is a junior marketing executive, he is handing over his resignation to the general manager of marketing. He is the highest boss in his division. So on the left, we have the recipient's address, the general manager. Here we are not writing a name for a very simple reason. First, you may not directly know who the general manager is. He's at least 4 to 5 steps above you or maybe even higher. The second reason is it is a practice that we usually follow when the person on the position is likely to be transferred or likely to be replaced frequently. We usually address the letter to the designation, to the position, and not to the person. You remember in the school, you have written the letters to the principal, not by writing the name of the principal. Why? The logic is again very simple. It's the same logic. Every time the person on the position is liable to transfer or liable to be changed frequently, you write the letter to the designation and not to the person. So on the left, we have the address, the general manager, that's the designation. Below that, the division, marketing. Below that, the company, Lux Industries. Below that, there will be a detailed address. Here we have only written Chakla, whatever it is, Bengaluru, and the pin code. As always, you can always write XXXX instead of writing the entire pin code. Please notice there is a space after we have written date on the right. As always, after the space we write with the recipient's address. After the recipient's address, there is another space, and after that, we are starting with our salutation, which is universally Dear Sir. After Dear Sir and comma, there is another space, And here you notice a very important change. The logic behind this is explained in the previous document. If you don't remember it, I insist you read the previous document. What you notice here is we have not written the subject line at all. The logic is again very simple. We avoid writing subject line as a resignation because resignation is usually a very negative thing on the company's performance. Due to whatever reason, a lot of bosses take resignation extremely personally. They take it as a personal rejection. That is why resignation is negative. And also because these days companies are very conscious about keeping a tab on their yearly turnover rate. When they say turnover rate, they mean how fast the employees quit and are replaced by the new employees. A higher turnover rate in the company shows that the company is not very stable or the work conditions are not very good, and as a reason, the employees are quitting. All the good companies in India try to keep their turnover rate in the single digits, the lower single digits. If the turnover rate is 15%, what that means is if this year the company has hired 100 new employees, then out of which 15 people have left your company within a year or after a year, which is a very negative thing on your company. So these are some of the reasons resignation word has a very negative connotation in the organization, and hence we avoid writing resignation as the subject. The simple rule which we have seen in the theory chapter, we do not start any message with the negative thing and we do not end the message with the negative thing. And hence, even when we start with our first paragraph here, you will notice we are not starting our first paragraph in the usual fashion. We are not starting the first paragraph saying, I'm here to resign, or I'm writing this letter to resign, or here is my resignation. We are not writing it this way. In fact, if you notice in the entire first paragraph, we are not talking about resignation at all. We are following the same rule that we have learnt in the theory chapter previously. For any message, you start on the positive note, you end on the positive note. Always. You never talk negative. Okay, so simple thing. We are starting on the positive note here. So we are starting it like this. I have been working in your division for last 2 years. In this period, I gained appreciation from the superiors, respect from the colleagues, and admiration of the subordinates, and I grew both professionally and personally. So what we are saying here is a very brief background. I have been working under you for last 2 years, and during these 2 years, I was appreciated by all three kind of people. मुझे मेरे कलीग्स से प्यार मिला, जूनियर्स से रिस्पेक्ट मिला, बॉसेस ने मुझे सराहा. दैट इज़ व्हाट वी आर सेइंग हियर. सो इन अ वे आई हैड अ वेरी हैप्पी टाइम हियर. आई ग्रू हियर एज अ पर्सन, आई ग्रू हियर प्रोफेशनली. वी आर स्टार्टिंग इट ऑन अ वेरी पॉजिटिव नोट. Again, after a space, after leaving a line. Now this is the second paragraph where we are going to break the news of resignation, so that it doesn't come in the first paragraph and we are not putting it in the last paragraph also. So second paragraph begins something like this. However, lately my work has suffered immensely due to my constant ill health. Living a bachelor's life in Bangalore somehow doesn't suit me, and the physician here has advised me to go on extended vacation and de stress myself. Keeping this in mind, I think it will bid me well to shift to my native town of Bhubaneswar. Hence, I am offering my resignation. Please also treat this as the beginning of my notice period of 1 month. You see, it's a very comprehensive second paragraph in a way. Again, if you have read the previous document, you will remember every time the question asks you to resign for a personal reason, it is always customary not to write that I'm resigning due to personal reason and to specify what reason it is. So here the person is writing he's resigning due to ill health and the doctor has advised him to take a day off from the metro city. So basically maybe he's from small town and he's going back to his town to recuperate or to take care of his health. Even if you look at the composition of this second paragraph, it is extremely smart in a way. The point where he's writing that he's resigning, that point comes towards the end of the paragraph. Why have we done this? It's a very conscious choice. Remember, while the people are glancing over a big write up, they always tend to notice the beginning of the paragraph and the end of the paragraph first. And that is the reason the fact that we are resigning, we have kept that towards the end of the paragraph so that the boss won't miss it if he is reading this in hurry. Look at the last two sentences again. Very important. Here, I'm offering my resignation. Full stop. That is important. And the second point, again extremely important, is please also treat this as the beginning of my 1 month notice period. You will know all the good organizations have some rule about what is the notice period the employee should serve before resigning. The rule applies on the employer side also. The employers also are bound by the same rule of the notice period, which means notice period simply means if, as an employee, if you are going to resign and if your organization asks you to serve a 3 month notice period, remember this condition is written in your contract. A 3 month notice period simply means that after putting your resignation, you need to keep working with the same organization for 3 months before you can finally stop coming. This rule is made for a very simple reason. After you are gone or after you have resigned, the organization can take those 3 months to find a replacement of you. Now, this can be just 15 days also. This notice period can be as long as 3 months also. This depends on how important you are as an employee. For the junior level employees, which are easily replaceable, the notice period can be shorter. The top level employees, the notice period can be of 3 months. And again, remember, the organization is also going to follow the same rule. It means if the company is going to kick you out, if the company is going to throw you out of the organization, then they also cannot do that just with a letter or just orally. They also have to give you this kind of termination letter, and the notice period will again kick in. So if you are bound by contract to serve 1 month notice period, then after terminating you, the organization will have to give you 1 month's salary. So the rules apply on both the side. So here we are saying that please also treat this as my 1 month notice period, so that after this a month after this I can stop coming. And the third paragraph, as we always keep it short and simple, I will always be indebted to you and the organization for all the support. So you see, after resigning in the middle paragraph, we are always again going to end this on a positive note. We are thanking the boss for all the support that you have received. There is a strategic reason why we always speak positive, because whenever you are joining another job or whatever you want to do ahead, you have known this by now, you may require the recommendation of your boss. So you cannot end it on the negative note. You want to end your relation on the positive note. The last paragraph where we are saying thank you, now because it is the modified block format, towards right we are writing the signature block. So it is as always yours faithfully. Below that, the actual signature. If you're not actually signing, you can do SD. Below that, the name. Always your own name will be written without a prefix. So Partho Das Gupta. And below that, always in the bracket, your designation, which here is Junior Executive Marketing, because this is in the marketing division. So that is how the resignation letter is. I hope you have understood this. Now, to have a look at the entire document and how the letter looks like, this is how your resignation letter looks like. It starts with the date towards right. On the left, everything is justified. Remember, everything begins at the margin. There is no indent. There is no subject in this case. And again, towards the right, we are coming at the complementary clause. So this is how it looks like. This is the modified block format. Towards the end, we are seeing a small note. It is not related to resignation letter. It is related to the format. The note says, in the modified block format, which we have seen just now, if we had to use a sender's address, it would be on the right side. I explained that to you in the beginning. A sender's address would be on the right before writing the date. However, if we had to use a letterhead instead of the sender's address, remember the letterhead would have appeared in the center. Before the date, remember the letterhead would have appeared in the center of the page. Why? The simple reason is, every time we use the letterhead, no matter what format we are using, the letterhead will always be in the center. Here is the last sentence that explains that. A letterhead will always be in the center irrespective of the layout. So that takes care of this very small writing letter of resignation. If you have understood this, just think about this for 2 minutes. Think about it in your mind about how you are going to construct a resignation of your own. If you have not understood this, go through the video again, read the resignation letter that appears in the video, and advance to the third document now. It is on your Edmodo. It's a template with a question where you can write your own letter of resignation. That's all for today. Bye bye.